Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there and welcome to opening day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday. It's the opening day of April. I hate April Fool's Day, so we'll try not to get ourselves involved in that. And instead, focus on the coming of spring, the coming returning of baseball to, did anything come out there? No. No. Is that it?
Yeah.
What a joke. Okay. Oh. So, the sun's coming out here downtown, just putting in end to all those people who are saying it was going to snow on opening day. It's not going to snow. It's going to be a little chilly, but it's going to be a full house, and we wish the Pirates, as always, we wish them well. This is the year. I've been saying that for so long, but this is the year. I know it. And just some quick other sports related stuff. The Penguins continue their astonishing play, but of course, Sidney Crosby, poor guy who's just been so incredible this season, is, as we speak, at Presby Hospital with his jaw broken and a lot of his teeth gone. I'm surprised he's kept his teeth this long.
They're fake.
Oh, the teeth that he lost are fake too?
Yeah.
So who knows how many sets of teeth he's had? All right, okay. So he just has to have more. So he's used to not having teeth. I mean, his own. God. And we were certainly reminded this weekend, if you were a sports person, taking advantage of some of the fantastic games that were on this weekend, about how dangerous these games are. Even games you don't think of as dangerous, like basketball. And I did not see the injury to this poor Louisville player, but it apparently made Joe Theismann sick. And Joe Theismann, as you recall, up to this point, I think, has the most sickening injury on video that we've all ever cringed at. And that was a long time ago when he was the quarterback for the Redskins. And he broke his leg, the same leg compound fracture as did this poor kid yesterday, Kevin Ware. And USA Today sports people pointed out that the network, CBS, handled this very, very well. I mean, you had here a horrific injury, a bone protruding like 6 inches out of his leg. It's, of course, on the internet, if you want to see it. CBS apparently showed him going down live and then showed it one more time and then ceased, realizing that, in fact, if you wanted compelling video, there was more compelling video in the sight of his teammates sobbing on the court, or the horrified faces of people in the stands. Not so NBC in terms of their reaction to Sidney Crosby's horrific injury as well. They played, they replayed, they slow-mo'd it so you could see Crosby's teeth flying out of his mouth, practically. They reveled in the blood and the horror. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, one network had some sense of protection of the players' privacy and protection of, I don't know, I guess some people in the audience who don't want to see that. But on the other hand, is this why people watch games, to see that horror when it happens? I don't know. If you want to see horror when it happens, your best bet is to be watching NBC, apparently, and not CBS, that displayed some reticence in showing the injury to the Louisville player. Well, I have to tell you, I have entered a dark world, and I'm sure this happens to you, many of you, not all of you. It used to be that if you were into a television show, a series, let's say, a continuing series television show, that you had to wait for a week, right, to see the next episode. And that's how the show was put together. You take this in an hour and you digest it, and then you look forward to the continuing of it in a week. Well, of course, since now we have videos being released of entire seasons of shows and entire season after season after season after season of some shows that now are not on television, you can literally watch an entire season in one sitting. You watch episode 1, right away on to episode 2, no waiting a week between 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6. And you can spend 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, totally immersed in another reality and in another world. I've never done that before until this weekend. And it messes with your head. Jess, I know you've done this, haven't you?
All the time.
A marathon? Mm-hmm. What's the longest you've ever done where you are simply watching an entire, and what show was it? Can you think? I mean, did you go on for 8, 9, 10 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. Friday Night Lights, how many hours did you do?
Like 9 or 10.
9 or 10 hours. Okay. Well, I'd say this weekend, I couldn't do it straight, but I'd say this weekend I watched 8 or 9 hours of The Wire. But The Wire is so dark, and my dreams, I couldn't leave. So my dreams were wired with that same kind of because that's the visuals that were coming into my head. That's what my unconscious mind had to deal with. And so I've been living in that world for 48 hours, I would say. And I'm not done. I mean, I'm just midway through season 2. I always heard this was maybe the greatest show ever done. It's up there if it isn't the greatest. And if you've never watched The Wire, I have to tell you, I'm now a new, acolyte. Good Lord. I called my brother and said, I just got through season 1. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was leveled. And he goes off on this rhapsody about it being the greatest video ever. Ever. He said, it's Shakespearean. It is that genius. It is Shakespearean. We have a caller. Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Hey. Clarence from Canonsburg.
Clarence from Canonsburg. Hi.
I finished off season 5 of Mad Men this weekend.
Yeah, but how many hours did you do this weekend?
Yeah. It was whatever. I don't know what it was. I don't know how long it was, but that whatever, how many episodes there are, and I think they're like hour episodes. That's what I did. But that's nothing compared to because I'd never seen Mad Men, and when Netflix put on their first 4 seasons, I did that in the weekend.
Ooh.
4 seasons. I just spent it was so compelling to me. You know what I mean? That I watched the whole first 4 seasons last year in one weekend.
But doesn't it screw your? I mean, that's in some ways a lost weekend. That is a weekend where you have agreed to lose yourself, literally, right? Literally, to enter into a fantasy world and live in it. And it's true, your dreams had to have been affected by it every moment, right?
So I just turned into Dawn Draper. I was making Dawn Draper faces. Everything was about advertising. You know, I just turned into people. I did the same thing. Netflix had put on, I think, like 1 season of the Jack Benny Show, which I've never seen.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, this is a funny show.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
So I find more of Jack Benny on this. It's called Archive TV. On, it's like, because they're like free now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
what
somebody
is it?
had posted a bunch of Jack Benny stuff on Archive TV. Then I'm watching Jack Benny specials, and then I turned into Jack Benny. Everybody that I was talking to, I sounded like Jack Benny. That's like one of my problems. I always absorb whatever character I watch.
Oh, my gosh.
It was funny.
No, Jack Benny was funny, wasn't he?
And it was incredible. I've seen, Jack Benny on, first that animated thing they did with Jack Benny, Warner Brothers did. That was like probably my first exposure to Jack Benny. But I do kind of remember his specials. Or him on
the violin. Like he was playing the violin badly.
The violin and stuff. But I've never seen the black and white Jack Benny's from like the early '50s.
Well, what did you make of his of Rochester?
Rochester, yeah, okay, boss. I think it's funny. The thing about Rochester, he was like his butler.
Yes, but not. But they were like.
They were like good friends.
They were tight.
Yeah, they were tight. Yeah. That's what I thought about Rochester. I said, now, although he's almost a stereotype.
Oh yes,
it's not like he was just like shuffling around and and all this kind of good stuff.
No,
but,
I think the way they were able to have Benny and Rochester actually be like seemingly on an equal, respectful to each other on an equal footing in that respect, and not have Rochester have to do that, that same damn role that every black actor had. I think his voice was enough to sort of cartoonize him so that he could then be released to be a regular fellow or something. I don't know, because the voice was such a riot.
Yeah, it was hilarious. The whole show was good. His announcer. I loved the way that I didn't know they did this because I'm so young. They put the commercial was part of the skit. They're doing commercials on Lucky Strike cigarettes, but it's part of the skit. Even the commercials were entertaining. They didn't cut the commercial. The commercial's right in the show.
Isn't that wonderful? No, there's some good stuff. Good stuff out there. So Mad Men started up again. What starts next week? The new season?
I don't know what season, because I don't have real cable. I watch I do everything on the internet. So I won't see season 6 until season 6 comes to Netflix.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I watched all of season 5. They had put up what is it, AMC? They put up like the first episode of season 5. With the doobie doobie doo thing, and right when it began. But then that was it. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, because at that point I was addicted to Mad Men. So I go through about 6-7 months of okay, no more Mad Men. I'm over it. I'm no longer Dawn Draper. I'll be Jack Benny for a couple of months, and. And then they put up the season 5, and I know I'll start wearing hats and suits and ties. I'll be Dawn Draper, because that's what I do. But so I don't know when season 6 starts. And
Well, you know what's
it won't be till next
fascinating
year where I see it.
is the thing about Mad Men is it is very historically accurate in terms of I don't know.
The clothing,
The
the
clothing,
look,
the dress,
scenery,
the all
way
the
people-
incidental, everything. Yeah, they've got it. They do have it down. And so that's fascinating. There's a little bit of time travel involved. And
you know what? The only thing, the thing I noticed that there are two things that I don't think are accurate, and that's Don Draper's daughter. I don't know what her name is. She sounds more like a kid in the 2000s, the way her voice is. You know what I mean?
Well,
And Don Draper's wife, I can't think of her name either, the one with the black hair. She sounds more contemporary. Her voice does. The way she acts. So I don't. But I wasn't. I was a little kid in the '60s. So if there were people like talking like this and all that stuff,
no, they weren't. But I don't think his wife sounds like that. The kid.
His new wife?
Yeah,
the Canadian?
the gorgeous Canadian.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, what I did notice about that, his first wife,
Yeah.
was Samantha Stevens. His second wife is Laura Petrie. I swear, I said when I first started watching it, the first wife was more like Samantha Stevens.
Okay.
From Bewitched.
I understand. I knew the site, but now you're talking to somebody who never watched 70s television. So
that was 60s television. Bewitched and
Bewitched was 60s?
Yeah.
Well,
I think
never
Bewitched
watched
started in 63. It started like in 62, 63. It was in black and white.
Okay, it was too stupid for me. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
I didn't I hardly watched anything, I guess. 60s,
I was,
70s,
I'm from that generation who was raised on the television.
Yeah.
Yeah. And frisbees and hula hoops and all that nonsense. I'm from that generation.
Well, I did hula hoops.
What's that?
I did hula hoops, and they're back.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Could
I'm
I
not
do
doing
that
anymore.
again? I mean, could I? Is that hard to do? Because it wasn't when I was young. But I'm thinking that'd be a good ab work. That's a good core workout.
I was always good on my knees more than on my hips. I put it down on my knees and put my knees together. Yeah, I could do that for like days.
Yeah. Well,
okay, since we bored people enough.
I know.
Because I could go into a whole other subject about the 60s and 70s. And
okay, I know you could. Well, but didn't you ever watch The Wire?
No, I haven't. No, the thing is, the fact that I got into Mad Men is strange.
Okay.
Because most of the stuff I watch are like Star Trek and superhero cartoons.
So you don't want too much grit
Drama
and reality.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, then maybe. But I got to tell you, The Wire is amazing.
Is that on Netflix? I'll look it up.
Sure it is. It's amazingly well written. It's amazingly acted. It's just, and I think my brother, who usually does go over the top when he loves something, I think he might even be correct that it was Shakespearean.
Oh, now you piqued my interest.
Okay.
Only because, you said your brother liked it, and I know he and I have so much in common.
Yeah. All right, you're out of here.
All right.
Goodbye. Bye. Clarence from Canonsburg, ladies and gents. Okay, so it's opening day, and you might have missed this. They say that they've improved the food at PNC Park. Says Jess, sounding vaguely interested. Okay, here's one of the new things available. Listen to this, Jess. Okay. You, listen. It's called the Brunch Burger. You figure you go to the ballpark, 1:30 something, and you're wanting to eat, wanting to do the whole thing, so you hang on because you're going to get a brunch burger in the first inning. You are. And listen to what you're going to chow down on. A patty made from Angus beef and ground bacon. That is then topped with maple bacon, a fried egg, and cheddar cheese, and served on a glazed donut that has been sliced in half and toasted on a grill. Good God. That is a heart attack.
Yeah.
Waiting to happen. That is grotesque.
That's disgusting.
You have beef, bacon, eggs, cheese on a glazed donut. That's your brunch burger. And I was thinking, gee whiz, come on, Pittsburgh. You can go to some ballparks in the country now, and they're aware that some Americans would like to eat at the park, but are watching their weight or trying to be healthier. And you would think they'd have some. But here's what else they have. They now have, and they had this before, but now they've moved it. The all-you-can-eat seats. Mm-hmm. Now, the all-you-can-eat seats now are the all-you-can-eat seats presented by Pepsi, and they've moved them off to a sequestered section in the right field side of the stadium so that I guess all these pigs that are sitting in there cannot somehow get their food to somebody who isn't sitting in the section. They used to be cheating a little by all they can eat and then sharing it with somebody else. So for $42, that's what the tickets cost in the all-you-can-eat section. You can gorge yourself on unlimited, but it has to be from this one section. You can't get the brunch burger in the all-you-can-eat. In the all-you-can-eat, you have to be satisfied with just eating like 7,000 hot dogs, hamburgers, nachos, salads, popcorn, peanuts, ice cream, pop, whatever. Now, also available, oh my God, foot-long sausages, including tequila lime sausage, topped with cilantro slaw, and buffalo chicken sausage topped with shredded carrots. So this is the kind of thing that people are going to be eating. And then the chef, the executive chef of PNC Park, who knew, is quoted as saying, "We are one of the best stadiums in the country for food." I just want to say this to the executive chef at PNC Park. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I'll tell you what is good there. Manny Sandian has a big barbecue pit set up outside, like right on the river, and his burgers are delicious. You can see the smoke rising from his barbecue from miles away. Okay. All right, you guys. I warned her. Did you see this? Elsie Thompson. I warned her. Do you remember Elsie Thompson? She hails from here. She was born in Beaver Falls, but she lived much of her adult life in Mount Lebanon. She's got a big obit out. She's gone now. Elsie, born in 1899. Consequently, Elsie was just shy of her 114th birthday. And Elsie Thompson was the oldest, was she not? The oldest living American. I told Elsie. I remember when she was elevated to this position, and it was about 3 months ago. I said, Elsie, you don't want it. You don't want it. I'm telling you, everybody who gets this honor is dead in months. She dead. She had the crown for about 2.5 months, which is not a bad run for being the oldest American. Grew up in East Liberty. Her husband was a Republican state legislator. She will rest in peace in Mount Lebanon, although she has been living in Florida for a while. Elsie Thompson, the oldest living person in the United States, is now one of the newly dead people in the United States. And it doesn't say here who the poor soul is who has now been elevated to that august position where, serious bragging rights there for a while, but you don't have a lot of time to do the bragging, obviously. So, you think I don't have anything serious to talk about? I got serious stuff to talk about. God help us. I've been avoiding it, but here's one little good... Oh, I should take a break. Trying to be good. What happened to that sun I was talking about?
Gone.
And now it looks like it could snow. It's great. Oh, well, what the hell? Batter up! We got to take a break.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, and shows. This week only, get discounts up to 40% for the Steelhead Brasserie and Wine Bar. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
Hey, what's up? Holla at ya, boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Oh, Ansel, I know you're right. Ansel has written a lament. He says, TV is ruining my life. These days, we never have to miss an episode. Our DVR is easily programmed to record a series. Online services make it possible to watch our shows on our tablets, our phones, on our computers. We can watch an entire season or 2 or 3 in a weekend. I am certain I've doubled my TV time over the past decade, and my book reading time has surely decreased. I would read a book on the topic of self-discipline and willpower to help with this problem, but my DVR is calling. Yeah. Ansel, I feel your pain because I have never been a big TV watcher, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing that you can, all of these critically acclaimed series that you never saw. Now you can, they're available. They're available. And once you start, it's hard. Boy, it's hard. But I don't get hooked very easy, I don't think. The Wire has really blown my mind. Hello?
Good morning, Lynn. It's Dave from Washington.
Dave from Washington. I believe I saw you in the letters to the editor section of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Yeah, I forgot all about that until they called me up and asked if they could print that. That's one about the Pens game.
Was that what it was about? I'm trying to remember what it was about. Oh, yes, it was. It was about...
Son of a bitch who keeps blowing that damn horn.
That's right.
I hate that. Pardon my French, but I hate that fucking horn. And they started that in the Washington Capitals, and I've been screaming for years to shut the hell up.
Wait. You're talking about like an air horn?
Yeah, it's like, remember a couple of years ago during the World Cup soccer thing, all the guys were blowing that, they call it a vuvuzela or something like that?
Oh, vuvuzela, but that's different. Is it a vuvuzela there?
It's the same sort of thing. It's just this loud blat. Wah, wah, wah. There's no tonality to it or anything like that. It's just a loud noise, and it drives me nuts.
Oh, I don't blame you. It drives me nuts, too.
Well, that's not what I called about.
But stop and think, when they score... Well,
it's one thing to have the little guy on the Calliope or the organ, whatever, up there, and the music and things like that, but we don't need some guy sitting in a seat who's blowing that stupid damn horn to fire up the crowd. The crowd knows when to cheer. We're awesome about that here in Pittsburgh. We know the game very, very well.
I am so with you on that, and it's like I started complaining, as to my mother, when at the Packer games all of a sudden, we were all being herded by, they program, like now we clap, now we say go, and I'm thinking, screw you. We do
That's right,
just
cheerleaders.
fine.
We don't need cheerleaders.
No, we don't need cheerleaders. And see, they don't have cheerleaders, but they still think they can control what you say, when you say, how you cheer, when you cheer, and I hate that.
Did you know, speaking of that the Steelers-Packers Super Bowl was the first Super Bowl ever where neither team had cheerleaders?
No. Really?
Yep, neither the Steelers nor everybody else who's ever been in the Super Bowl, at least one team had cheerleaders. Not everybody has cheerleaders.
No, but
this is the only time when both teams did not. I forgot what I called you about now. Oh, I know. Television.
Oh, yeah, TV.
AMC.
Yes.
AMC has the best.
Very good program.
Freaking shows on TV.
Okay, don't get me started because that's another one I've got to watch. Is Breaking Bad AMC?
Breaking Bad.
I watched the pilot just the other day, thinking that's another one I keep hearing about, and oh boy. Yeah. All right, so what else do they have?
Well, they've got this Walking Dead, this zombie
I've
show.
tried them. I'm not into zombies. Can't do it. Sorry.
I'll tell you what, that's a fantastic show.
I know
that
it is.
That is amazing.
I know it is. My son is totally into it, but there's something about zombies, and my apologies to George Romero, a good man, but I don't.
But it isn't just about zombies.
I
mean,
know,
it is.
of course it's not. Zombies aren't even about zombies.
No. Then, let's see, they've got this other one that's kind of a quieter show. It's about building the railroad out west in the 1980s or the 1880s or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. Hell on Wheels.
Hell on Wheels. Jess
That's
knows
a
all
good
this.
show. But again, like so many of these other shows, they knocked off one of the main characters.
Yeah, they do that to you.
Early on. And I
Yeah.
was bummed out about that because
Yeah.
she was a cutie, for one thing.
I know, they're always killing the people I love.
Yeah.
I know.
That's funny, yeah.
It's
And
like
of
a
course,
kiss
Mad
of death
Men's
if I
coming
like
back.
somebody. Who is?
Mad Men.
Yeah.
And but Breaking Bad, since it's going to start back up again sometime this summer, you can. I'm sure that they'll be, rerunning the whole thing. Now, I don't get Showtime, and I've heard so much about this show, Homeland.
Yes, I don't get Showtime either, and I understand Homeland is another beaut. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think I may have already missed it all. They had a week on Comcast of all these shows that you don't normally get, and I think it expired yesterday. And I didn't notice it until Saturday. So I've caught the first 6 or 7 Homelands now. I don't like coming in the middle of something. I got to start at the very beginning.
Yeah. So what did you think?
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, just, again, a great show. And I'm hoping that this thing hasn't expired. I don't know if it did or not. I got to...
Well, it might have, or you'll just have to wait. You don't have Netflix, huh?
No, not anymore.
Well, Netflix now gives you just about everything. So, and on your TV. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, but you have to have certain type of, like an Xbox or a PlayStation, one of those.
That's true.
A Wii.
Or a
I don't have any
Blu-ray.
of that
Yeah.
crap.
All right.
So, anyways, I guess that's really what I wanted to call and tell you about, but I'm glad you read my letter. Boy, man, did you see the teeth flying out of Sid's head when he got hit?
No, I didn't, because I can't stand... I was just saying, they don't have to show that to us in slow motion.
Well, it's kind of funny because 15 years ago, I broke my leg. I broke my leg real bad.
Like the poor kid yesterday?
Well, kind of. It went backwards. I shattered the top half of
Okay.
my knee, and it went backwards, and I went down, and I hit my head and everything. And,
Like
so I did see my own injury. So if I'm
Yeah.
watching football, and they're like, oh, this guy got hit, watch his arm, he tore his arm off, or, got hit in the spine, or hit in the mouth, whatever,
Right.
I can watch those. But if it's a leg injury, my brain automatically closes my eyes and I have to look away. I cannot watch any type of leg injury. It's really strange. It's a reaction, a nervous reaction that my body has. I can't even force myself to watch it.
You mean because of your own experience, you think?
Yeah, I'm sure it's because of mine. Now, one thing that I thought, going back to the World Soccer thing, which I thought was great, when somebody gets injured in that game, they don't even stop the game. The one guy, clearly broken ankle, clearly, it's sticking out to the side at a right angle. They don't stop the game. They ran out there with a stretcher, threw the guy in a stretcher, dragged him off the field, and then dealt with him on the sidelines. Where in the NFL, they stop the game for half an hour.
Yeah, but soccer players are known for faking injuries. Then what's the point of faking an injury?
Well,
where
this
they
guy wasn't
roll
faking an
around.
injury.
I know, they roll around in pain.
Yeah, well, this guy...
This guy was really hurt.
He had a broken ankle. There's no two ways around this one. But they don't stop the game, and I like that.
Okay.
So, okay.
Well, you had to stop. I mean, so you could literally see Crosby's teeth flying out?
Yeah.
Wow.
They get some of that slow motion high def.
Yes.
And you can see the teeth just spitting out of his head. It's pretty bad.
All right, you. Goodbye.
Poor Sid. Thanks. Bye, Lynn.
Bye. Where is this show going? Okay, let's go to... I got this this weekend, and I'm just so... I can't stand this kind of... I got quick heads up about the stupidity of Americans, some. There's a high school teacher, Tim McDaniel. He's a science teacher, which is a very dangerous thing to be these days, because if you're a science teacher in a red state, who believes in science. Well, how dare you? Who believes in science and the teaching of it, you're a sitting duck. And that's what happened. Tim McDaniel is under investigation by the Idaho Professional Standards Commission. This, I guess, make sure the teachers are being professional. And his crime, among others, he allegedly used the word vagina while teaching a 10th grade biology lesson on reproduction. So, Jess just looked up like, huh? Well, yeah. If you're teaching reproduction, I would think the word vagina might come up. His crime, according to a report, was that he explained the biology of an orgasm and in so doing used the word vagina. This is during a lesson on human reproduction. He received a disciplinary letter from the Idaho State Department of Education. He was also accused of showing a video clip depicting genital herpes and teaching about different forms of birth control. This is what he was supposed to be teaching about. He was essentially doing an anatomy and human reproduction course. But this was the capper. He showed his students Al Gore's documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, about climate change, and he assigned them to write a paper, a critical paper responding to it. Again, this guy sounds like a fine science teacher. So that is why he is under attack. His students, not surprisingly, are overwhelmingly defending him, saying that he is a great teacher, that he goes the extra mile, and blah, 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 and his class is interesting. All this took were 4 parents with an agenda, and it's gotten all the way up to, as I said, the state Professional Standards Commission, and he is under investigation for saying vagina, among other things. Why, I've never. Tom Sokolowski writes, in spite of your protestations over the seductive power of television series, remember how people salivated over the weekly installments of Charles Dickens novels. This is true. He's the one who first figured out this serialization, isn't he? Yeah, how you could keep people just desperately wanting more. Leave them just desperate to know what happens next. And a lot of the books that we now read in one fell swoop, he would let out in these weekly installments, which was exactly, Tom. You're absolutely right, and thank you for the for that historical what do you call that? Fact. Despite the quality of the writing, Dickens certainly knew how to make a pot boil and surely invented the term cliffhanger. Well, I just used it, yeah. In more recent days, remember the fixation in the San Francisco Chronicle over the thrice weekly episodes of Armistead Maupin's, is that how he pronounces it? Tales of the City. Now, very few of us are going to remember that because we weren't in Frisco, we weren't reading the San Francisco Chronicle, and we were not waiting with bated breath for the next installment. I, however, have read Tales of the City in book form, and I can see how if that, I did not realize that was originally published. That wonderfully funny, smart book as a serial in the San Francisco Chronicle. Wow. Tom says, as for me, I've been known to watch 15 hours of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in one. Yeah. I've never seen one. Don't get me started on that. Vampire, all that kind of stuff with vampires and zombies and stuff. I just not, sorry, can't, not into it. I like sort of reality-based stuff. I really do. Hey, a little bit of a shout out for Pittsburgh in today's Wall Street Journal. I mean, it's not really, but we're in a story mentioned once, but it's an interesting and positive mention. This is, I think, on page 2 of the Wall Street Journal today, and it's talking about employment and unemployment, and that employment in the United States is picking up somewhat, but it is very unevenly distributed, and only 14 of the nation's 100 largest metropolitan areas as of today, have more jobs than they did before the bottom fell out in 2008 with the recession. So only 14 out of 100 of the largest metropolitan areas have recovered to the 2008 level. All those others, that'd be what, 86? 86 others are still below. They're still not up to where they were then. That's how horrific this financial crisis we went through was. And so it's curious about what is different about those 14. Well, one interesting aspect is that 6 of the 14 are in Texas. Texas. Let's see. Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, Dallas, Houston, and McAllen, Texas. Now, Texas is there. Those are all there because of, generally speaking, because of oil and gas. And you can argue that has some of what we've got too. So the natural gas boom has had something to do with it. But also, in all of those 14, generally speaking, they have a more stable employment base because of either, like Austin, they're a state capital with all those government jobs, or they have universities or high tech, and those have remained stable. So Pittsburgh, having reinvented itself as a eds and meds, education, medicine, high tech kind of a hub, and plus sitting on the Marcellus shale, it's one of the reasons, obviously, that we are part of the only 14 metropolitan areas that have gotten ourselves above where we were in 2008 when this great recession hit. If you're interested, the other are Oklahoma City, Omaha, Nebraska. These are all, I'm thinking, this is all mostly, Salt Lake City, San Jose, California, Knoxville, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., and Charleston, South Carolina. Those are the lucky towns. I'm going to take a second break, come back, and believe it or not, I have serious stuff to talk about. And my God, it's going to snow.
Maybe rain.
Well, it's going to rain then, but as we move closer to the opening pitch, it's getting awful soupy looking out there. What the hell? Have a brunch burger and let it fly. We'll be right back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
This week's Pittsburgh City Paper is available now. Pick up one today for an in-depth look at city politics, plus Aziz Ansari, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and the Shadow Lounge. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than the old bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Hello there. So, a lot of immigration talk going on in D.C., some talk of the Republicans finally seeing the light. And if they want to survive, they damn well better stop the anti-immigration crap, the anti-gay crap, all that anti, and I'm wondering, how do Republicans survive without having a group to demonize? Because that's what Republicans do. As for me, Jess, look at that.
Oh,
what is that? Snow. What is that? I mean, guys, it's really weird because it's moving horizontally. Yeah. That's got to be, what is that? It's definitely precipitation, but I would say that's got to be snow. No?
Like snow? Yeah, I think it's snow.
Oh, it is. And it's coming down like gangbusters. Jeez. Well, so they'll have to plow out the field and game on. I don't know. So, where was I? Oh, shoot. Oh, Republicans. So, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have Republicans to beat up on. Because, but they're just such a target-rich subject. They are so unbelievably clueless. And now, as you know, they are being told by even some of their brethren that they've got to change. They can't, although they still can't quite come to terms with it, they think if they just sort of take their principles, that's what they call them, take their principles and package them differently, seem to be warmer and more loving, gentler, that somehow they'll hoodwink all the people who they've been demonizing all these years. It's a friggin' blizzard out there. That's a blizzard. Look at the wind. I'm sorry, guys. Meteorologically speaking, we have something very extraordinary looking happening. Well, okay, so Republicans have got to change. They know that. They can't, you look at demographics, you can't offend the largest growing demographic in the country, Hispanics. You can't defend a very powerful minority in the country, gays and lesbians, and their supporters. There was a piece somewhere that I read maybe this morning that said that Republicans are really running into trouble with Hispanics, not just on immigration, but on their vociferous opposition to the Affordable Health Care Act, which of course is known as Obamacare, because Hispanics are totally behind it. Over 2/3 of Hispanics say, thank you, that is a great new law. Okay, so the Republicans are screwed. And you hear that there's, growing rifts in the party from those who want to pull the party away from the ugliness that they've been wallowing in for some time now, the narrow-mindedness, the out-and-out bigotry, and get with the program a little bit, as much as they have to. The New York Times has an interesting article today focusing on a Pennsylvania town. And in it, by looking at this city in Pennsylvania, they are showing how the Republicans are damned if they do and damned if they don't. The Republicans they made a deal with the devil long ago, and they're now seeing the result. and how difficult it is to extricate themselves. So as they try to, as Marco Rubio and other Republicans talk about reformation of our immigration system and of finding a way to allow immigrants that are here without papers to have a way to become full citizens, there are people in the Republican base that are so opposed to that they foam at the mouth when talking about it. And this is the base of the party. These are the people who the Republicans have whipped into a froth for well over a decade about the danger to the American economy and even to their very lives of allowing these Hispanics and Mexicans to continue to pour over the border. How does that get us to Pennsylvania? Well, it brings us to a city in the Poconos, 25,000 people, called Hazleton. Remember Hazleton? Because Hazleton, I'm thinking it was about 10 years back, passed the ugliest, most just flat out bigoted piece of legislation that essentially made it impossible for a Hispanic or somebody who didn't have all their papers to live there. This legislation actually fined anybody who rented an apartment or a place to lay their heads. It fined any employer. In other words, it made it impossible to live in Hazleton if you didn't have papers. At the time they did this, remember they had a mayor, he said the most god-awful things. His name was Lou Barletta. And Lou Barletta has since, because of his principled stance on keeping these brown people out of Hazleton, he's now in the Congress of the United States. He ain't the mayor anymore. He was elevated. So he's congressman, one of the wonderful Republicans in the House. And the New York Times went back to Hazleton just to see how this is a Republican town. This is their core constituents. This is not Arizona or New Mexico. This is way up here in Hazleton, PA. And your hair will curl if you read this piece, because the citizenry of Hazleton just flat out speak their bigotry with there's not even an effort to be subtle or to mask it. It's absolute, unalloyed American bigotry. Now, even most bigots have learned how not to sound quite as awful. They've learned how to couch their principles. Not the folks in Hazleton. Here's one, Jim Murphy, a longtime resident, sharing a pitcher of beer. He says, "Chase them out. They don't belong here." Here's a woman who says, "My parents worked hard. These people, of course, are lazy." And they have their picture taken. You know, they say, "Oh, and could we take your picture? You will be in the New York Times happily saying that these people are lazy bums and they aren't like my people who worked hard." So here we have a smiling Joanne Ostinaski who says that these people are not committed to hard work. They've got so much, Ms. Ustanoski said. "I'm so disgusted. My husband and I work so hard." Maybe so. We ain't saying you don't, but I don't know. Here's what's funny about Hazleton passing this law. It was 2006, by the way. The Hazleton law, not surprisingly, was struck down as unconstitutional by a federal appeals court in 2010. The wonderful thing here is that the Hispanic population of Hazleton has since surged. So, making up Hazleton now, 37% of the population of Hazleton is now Hispanic. Which is fascinating. So here you have a city where it's clear they don't want you. And it doesn't stop them. It doesn't stop them. You know why? Because they like to work. And there's jobs there. There's jobs. That's why they go. There's a meat packing plant. There are a lot of warehouses. There's cheap housing. There's relatively good schools. And these are people, unlike the cartoons that you hear from the people in Hazleton, who are desperate to get ahead, if not for themselves, for their children. That's what it's really all about. So I love the fact that Hazleton, which represents the kind of god-awful, ugly bigotry, stupidity, I got mine, I'm closing the door, get the hell out, you're lazy, you're bums, you're wallowing in somehow in all this largesse that I don't have. And Hazleton, you know what? What'll happen if they're 37% of the population of Hazleton now, with their fecundity and the demographic, they'll be a majority in Hazleton soon. Which I can't think of a more wonderful thing. They'll have a Hispanic mayor in about 10 years. But the Republicans, this is their base. I don't know. How do you move ahead with a base like that that's acting as an anchor on you? So for the few Republicans who get it, how do you move ahead? Caller, go ahead.
Hey, Lynn, it's Beth calling.
Hello.
And to put a little combination between the start of opening day and also the Hazleton racial issues.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the general or the skipper of the Tampa Bay Rays. He's originally from Hazleton, Pennsylvania. His mom, I guess, still resides there. And because so many of his players are of Hispanic descent and from the Dominican Republic and everything else, and talking to his mom, and every time I guess he'd go back there, he would just start seeing this divide more and more. He actually has put together this whole foundation there trying to kind of mend ties between the community, the Hispanic population. He actually goes back, I guess, like in the off-season and does training and funds English classes and citizen classes
him.
For the new population in Hazleton, which I think is amazing.
Oh, what a great story.
If you can Google, I remember it was on Real Sports, I think with Bryant Gumbel, probably about a year or 2 years ago.
He's the manager or the...
He's the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. He won't drive. He always bikes, I guess. Just a guy who really thinks outside the box. But what he's done for the Hazleton community in trying to kind of repair this rift. And as someone who has extended family back in that area, you know, we always said the best view of Scranton was in the rearview mirror. The thinking of that area is just still 1960s in that Hazleton, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton thing. So it's nice to see someone trying to bring that area into the present-day age.
Okay, I've got him here. He's Joe Madden.
That's it.
That's it. And
That's it.
Look at him. What a sweet face he has, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, isn't that great? What a great guy.
There's a combination
Thank
of
you.
two stories in one.
I appreciate
and,
that.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Beth. Thanks so much. This is from the St. Petersburg paper. It says, nothing Joe Madden does should surprise Rays fans by now. And this is a story near Christmas. Near Christmas? He's expanded an annual event known as Thanksmas. 6th consecutive year for hosting an event that sees him and a bunch of his players serving spaghetti, meatballs, pierogies, salad, yada, 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 to people in Tampa Bay. He buys all the food, supervises the cooking. And it says, however, this year, Madden is reaching out to his Hazleton, Pennsylvania roots to help those in need in his hometown by staging a holiday dinner. He calls it the Hazleton Integration Project. And, it's something that he has. He said, I'd often ride my bike and watch people push their entire life in front of them in a shopping cart. I would see some seek shelter in the cinder block bathrooms along the beach. I would see the distant stare of hopelessness. God, this guy's a poet, too. I wanted to be able to help. So he does things for homeless people there, and he wants to so in Hazleton, he says he puts his family to work. My sisters and my cousins are going to cook the food. And whatever. It doesn't go into in this story the the Hispanic aspect. But this guy's got the sweetest face. Well, there you go, the Tampa Bay Rays. And thank you for telling me about him. Joe Madden. That's a good guy. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right, the blizzard has stopped. That's good, although it's still snowing a little, but the wind has died down. Okay, thanks for joining me for this sort of neither here nor there Monday program. I think my sister Susan will be here tomorrow. And we've got a full regular week. Enough of this cutting out. For various... The Jews took us away Monday and Tuesday, and then the Christians on Friday, and now we're just back to business, okay? So we'll have a regular week with all folks in-house. Go Bucs. Get well, Sidney, and talk at you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.